What's up, guys? Welcome to Girls on Fire ATX. I'm your host, Samantha.
And I'm your host, Esther.
What's up, bitch?
What's up, girl?
I shouldn't use the word bitch, but I don't know. I'm just like,
I mean, I don't take it derogatory, even though that doesn't necessarily make it right. But whatever. It didn't hurt my feelings. Love you still. It's
okay,
fine.
cool. What up? What up? I was about to say it again. I was like, no, okay.
Habits.
All right. Well, so one of my friends, actually I met him in Florida. His name is Aaron, and I was helping Megan move all her stuff, which is, one of our really good friends. I was helping her move all her stuff from Florida to Austin because she just wanted to come back home. And so I was hanging out with her. She wanted to go out and about. So she took us to one of her favorite bars and ended up meeting this bartender named Aaron. And it was just really cool to talk to him because I was just he has a child and a I don't want to say baby mama, but he's got a significant other and stuff like that. And I was watching all the amount of girls that were hitting on him, and he was just respectfully no, I'm taken, but thank you.
You're right.
Not very rude. And so I was just kind of observing and everything. And I was talking to him, and then I kind of told him that I was I'm also in a relationship. I think that's really cool how you're handling it. I was not a lot of people do that, especially in the industry. And then I was the only one that was sober, and everyone that was around us was really drunk. And there was this girl coming in celebrating, I think, her 30th birthday. And she was a character. I don't want to say hot mess because she literally was just celebrating her birthday, but she was a character and very aggressive.
Right.
She was with her boyfriend and another couple, and she was just progressively getting drunk because people were buying her shots and everything like that. Now, this is a kind of dive bar on the beach.
Right.
So, it's one of those places where you go and you shoot the shit and you listen to some guy play a guitar, and it's just really cool. It's a really cool atmosphere. And this girl was just she came up to me and was just do you want to have a threesome? And I was like, no.
No,
you
but
are
thanks.
a beautiful girl, but no, thank you. I don't think my boyfriend would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. And the drunker she got, she didn't understand bar manners. So she kept going, baby, baby, baby to the bartender. And it was tequila, being that person, screaming out drinks. And my God, was he taking it like a champ. And I was just oh my God. And I had to tap her, and I was hey, you don't talk to people like that. She goes, I'm not being mean. I just know what I want. And I was okay, but that's not how you ask for
nicely
things.
for it.
I was don't talk to him like that. And he was thank you. And I had ordered a Red Bull from him. So we were chit-chatting, we were talking, and I told him about the podcast, and then he started following me or following us. And I don't know, he was just wanting to do the same thing. And I was you should, absolutely. And we were just talking about that. And he just sent us a message and was you guys should talk about people not asking the bartenders for drugs. And he told us a story. Sam's pulling it up on her Instagram because my phone's not in session right now. But I do want to read it. Or will you read it?
Yeah. Okay. So he goes, full story. Some guy asked me for Coke. I told him, yeah, there's a guy in all blue at the back door. He came back to me and told me there was a bunch of people in blue. So I told him to ask for the back door guy for Brian, our cop. And he goes, and as I'm out back on break talking to the cop in detail, the guy comes out asking the door guy for Brian, laughing my ass off. Brian sees and hears the guy, calls him over and told him to never come back to the bar again. Of course, the guy asked why, and Brian simply told him because he was looking for drugs. So,
he brought up that topic, and I was just oh my God, so many people, especially where I work, are constantly asking me, hey, do you know where I can get Coke? Hey, do you know where I can get Molly?
Yeah.
And I'm just do I look like a drug? I mean, I don't obviously drug dealers don't have a look, but
it's funny because they just automatically, it's there's two things here. They automatically assume that because we're bartenders and we work in the industry that we know where to find drugs or that we do drugs. So that's why they're asking us. And for the most part, like, I'm super nice when people ask me. I'm like, sorry, don't do that. It's illegal. No, like, don't do drugs. They're bad for you. Like,
Yeah.
come on. But there have been times where, like, if I'm busy or I'm not in like the best mood or the way someone might ask me, I've snapped and been like, even if I did, I have no idea who the fuck you are. Do you actually think that I would tell you where to go get drugs? I was like, you could be a cop. Like, I like my job. Thank you. No.
Oh
like,
my God.
come on, people. Like, use your fucking brain.
Yeah. Like, I mean, as a bartender, I mean, I do know where you can go get some.
I mean, I know people who may or may not sell drugs. I may or may not know people that may or may not sell drugs, but that's,
It's a better way to put it.
Yeah. You know,
For legal purposes, I do not know. I lied.
I may or may not know. I don't know. What is a drug? What are drugs? I have no idea.
It's kind of like, you know, I just don't want this to come back at me, but I do want to be honest. Like, for me, it's not a secret, but I love shrooms, and that's something that I like to do. I will never ever disclose where I get them, and nor will I ever like
my thing is
tell you if I have them or not.
Yeah, I don't want the responsibility to come back on me that like I told you to go to this person to get some. No, I don't do that. I mean, again, I may or may not know people and I may or may not do them. It's none of your business, but don't ask me for drugs. I'm not going to give them to you.
Right. Especially because like fentanyl right now is at an all-time high, and nor will I ever like drugs, literally like the hard drugs that people are looking for, which is like coke, ketamine, Molly.
I don't know what this obsession with ketamine is. I'm like,
I
you
don't
want to take
either.
a horse tranquilizer? Because that sounds fun.
No. I just like, I'm not trying to like, I don't know you. And then you're random. It's a lot of random. It's always guys. I don't think I've ever had a girl ask me. No, I've had a couple girls ask me.
I feel like it's majority men though that ask.
But it's just like a lot of the times, like the answer is going to be no. But at the same time, it's like, we're not drug dealers.
No, I'm
So
not.
don't fucking ask for drugs.
Well,
like, we're here to sell you alcohol. Like,
And it comes back to, we already have to deal with the fact that there are undercover TABC agents that come into bars or undercover cops that come into bars to see if we're serving underage people or et cetera. Those are things that we already have to deal with. The last thing I need to add to that list is whether or not it's an undercover cop asking me if I know where to get drugs.
exactly.
No, I don't. The answer is always no. No, 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 no.
Yeah, like I remember I had two guys one time. I was leaving a table, and I was walking towards the back, and this guy stopped me, and he's like, hey, you're friends with Cassie. And I'm like, who? And he's like, Cassie, you know, like friends with Cassie, like, you were kind of like in the background when we were all talking. And so like, you know, I just want to say hi, like, how are you? That kind of thing. And I was like, my brain, I'm like, I don't know a Cassie.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, like, so how are you doing? I was like, I'm fine. And I was just like,
Still
but
don't know you.
yeah. And then he's like, oh yeah, like how are you? All this stuff. And like in my brain, I'm like, okay, like
He wants
get to the
something.
point. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck do you want? Like, are you either trying to hit on me? Are you wanting my phone number? Like, are you like, what do you want? And he's like, yeah, like, so like, do you know where like I can get coke around here? And I was like, oh, honey, first of all, I don't know a Cassie. And second of all, I'm the wrong bitch to ask.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? And I was like, I work here. Do you want to get kicked out?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I was like,
I think
dude,
they also forget that we can kick them out because drugs are illegal, guys.
yeah.
They're still, like, I don't care how many people do drugs. I don't care how many people sell drugs. They're still illegal. It is still illegal to do them open in public. It is like the amount of people that are just so blatantly like, the amount of times I've been out somewhere and I've just seen someone pull a bag of coke out of their pocket and they're like just sitting there with their fucking key at the table doing the cocaine
That's
in
happening
front of everybody.
That's happening so much
I'm
right
like,
now.
Did you guys forget that it's illegal to do that? I'm just I'm confused right now.
I'm literally like, oh my God. I'm literally like, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm like, bro, I just saw you. What do you mean? And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, get out. And then they like a lot of the times it's like it sucks because they don't think that like I work there.
Yeah.
And then I always have to go through that little like freaking thing like, well, what do you know? You don't even work here. And I'm like, get out. Like, I'm not even going to entertain this idea. Like, drugs are legal. I'm not going to have you be the reason why a cop comes in here, finds you, and shuts us down.
Yeah.
Like, get out. Like,
no.
or like go fucking do it in the bathroom like normal people do. Not that I'm encouraging people to do cocaine, but it's just like, why are you in the middle of the fucking
Stay in school, don't do drugs.
Why are you in the middle of a dance floor literally doing cocaine? And then you got the white powder around your nose and you're like, I know what you're talking about.
It's always so obvious because they get like the dry mouth, the like white crust around the inside of their mouth. It's like that, and they won't shut the fuck up.
Oh,
and then their nose is running. And I'm like, okay, well, I know what you did.
Oh my God. I now have like a sixth sense of like when someone is coke out. I know exactly when they're coked out.
Yeah.
Cause then they always are like, have all these ideas. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to hit you up this week. Like, we're going to do this. And I'm like, all right.
Cool,
thumbs
bro.
up. Like,
Cool.
You're definitely not.
It's
like,
funny because I'm not going to say I haven't or have tried cocaine.
I have, and I don't like it. I'll be
But I was
honest.
going to say, but I may or may not don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Because I don't know. I don't care if there's different kinds. I don't care about any of that. I was like, I'm not putting foreign powder in my nose. On top of the fact, again, it goes back to the fentanyl thing. Like, I'm not trying to die. I have a child that I have to worry about and that like is dependent on me to some extent. So it's like, I really would like to be a part of her life for the rest of her life as long as possible.
Absolutely.
So
now I'm just going to be bluntly honest. Fuck it. I don't even care. I'm going to just go down on all the drugs that I've tried and like what I don't and don't like. I've tried cocaine. I do not like it. I do not like that drip. I don't like how it makes me feel. I don't like the anxiety that comes with it. And I don't like the come down or like just being like, so like too like, like I feel like it's crap.
I mean, at that point, you might as well just take Adderall. It lasts longer and it's cheaper.
I know. I do like Adderall because I have ADHD and it helps me focus and like I know exactly where it's coming from and like I do. But I'm gonna be honest. I don't have health insurance, so I can't go to a doctor. I don't have the funds to go to a doctor and could get a prescription.
Well, especially nowadays because there are people who have used Adderall or like Vyvanse and all those things that it's like, I feel like from what I've heard from other people who try to go get prescribed it who genuinely need it, it's a lot harder to get prescribed because people think that they're just making up excuses or making up their symptoms because they think that they need it or whatever. Exactly.
So, I have some and I take it whenever I really truly need it. And that's just the honest thing. Now, will I disclose where I get it from? Fuck no. Fuck you. I'll never tell. Next on the list, we'll talk about Molly. I have a love-hate relationship with Molly.
Mine's a hate relationship.
I really don't like it. I like it and I don't like it. Like, I like the last hour of Molly if I'm in a crowded area. I don't like being in crowds. I get really mad anxiety. I'd rather be alone having strobe lights playing and dancing by myself. Or like being around like just like my closest friends.
Right.
There's that. I've never tried ketamine. I've never tried meth. I don't even know what other freaking drugs you can take besides shrooms. I like shrooms for microdosing. I don't trip on them. I microdose. And that's really been helpful for my own mental health.
I feel like I read something recently that says that they're really trying to decriminalize mushrooms because ultimately they're literally grown out of the fucking ground.
Yeah.
Literally. Like there's no pharmaceutical enhancement to it. It is, you pick it, you eat it. There are some effects, just like weed.
Yeah. I used to really like smoking weed, but I can't smoke weed anymore because it gives me anxiety. I'll smoke it every now and then.
See, I have a CBD pen at home that I
really like CBD
when I go to bed. So like that's probably the extent of the drugs. And then like I have microdosed. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think that that's bad.
It's not bad.
So if anything, it's like really, I feel like it's made me smarter, if that makes any sense.
It's made me self-love myself.
Yeah.
It's made me...
It's like opened up my mind and made me more creative and imaginative.
And the thing is that like I like being in control. I don't like not being in control. That's why I don't like really mess around with psychedelics. Like I've never tried LSD. I have not tried acid. I have not tried like I don't know, ecstasy. Like I just don't like not being in control. That's why I don't really care for Molly, because there's that point where like everything is like jumbled.
So not to interrupt you, but I'm gonna take it back a couple of decades. What Molly was supposed to be was the pure MDMA. Like that's what Molly is supposed to be. The problem is you can't get your hands on pure MDMA like that anymore. And if you can, like I'm sure it's out there, but it's not Molly that you're taking. You're not taking MDMA. You're taking a mix of heroin and fucking ecstasy and everything else that's out there that they've put together and they're calling it Molly. So that's why when people take it, it's like sometimes it might feel more like speed because there's fucking crack in it. You know, like you have no idea what you're getting.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, they're telling you it's Molly, and Molly's like term is MDMA, which is supposed to be the pure form of ecstasy, because ecstasy was nothing but a pressed pill that had like different things in it as well. Like you never knew what you were going to get, if it was going to be heroin, crack, meth, whatever that was also inside of it. But all Molly and ecstasy at this point might as well be the same thing, because Molly was intended to be the pure MDMA form of ecstasy, but it's not.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I haven't done it in years, but I can tell you for the most part that anything in this fucking city is probably not pure.
The reason why I loved drinking alcohol so much was because that was something I could control.
Yeah.
The thing that would be when I would like take Molly is that I wouldn't be in control, but I was too freaking self-aware. Like I was like, oh my God. And what I really noticed the last time that I took it, I was with Tyler and we were at a concert, and he had to go to the bathroom. And as soon as he left me by myself, I wasn't by myself, I was with my friends, but I felt as a girl, not being able to have control, because I'm super self-aware of my surroundings and stuff like that, because like I see how men will look at me, and it makes me completely uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that to be like conceited or like anything like that. I feel like not a victim, but I feel like
a piece of meat,
a target. Yeah. And when he left me, it's like I see these guys that are also on Molly, and they're like, a girl, I'm gonna go talk to her and I'm gonna go bother her, and it's like, no, well, because like I know their intentions behind it.
Well, in their mind, I'm sure it's not, I'm gonna go bother her. It's just like they're like, oh, someone to talk, because taking that kind of drug definitely enhances like your chatterbox. You don't shut the fuck up ever.
Yeah. Well, like just like especially being in a tight group, like people are touching me and stuff like that. Like,
well, it's because it heightens your senses. So it's like, it goes back to like, so someone touching you is going to feel, you're going to feel it 10 times more than someone who would have just walked by you and brushed you like normal had you not been on it.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I cannot like,
no, I
had terrible anxiety. I was like, Tyler, don't ever leave me.
It's crazy because I've never been into drugs and I've never been into drinking alcohol. It's just never been something that like, I wouldn't say that has mattered to me, but I've never in my entire life. Like, I would go out in Tampa when I lived there, and like I would, we would get some drinks, but it was never like, it would take me like 4 drinks and I'd be hammered. Like always has been. I hated drinking then. I hate it now. It's just like, it was something that I did socially because I felt like I had to in order to hang out with people. And it sucks that it took me this long to realize that that's not what I need to do in order to go out with my friends. But like, it's now to the point where it's like, I genuinely don't like it. So like, why am I forcing myself to drink it to think that I need to hang out with people? I'm like, no, I don't like it. I don't want to drink it. It doesn't even taste good to me. Like, ugh.
It's gross.
It is so gross.
That's why I'm like, I know the effects of certain drugs. So when people come and ask me for it, it's like my reaction is like, first of all, I don't know you. And second of all, if I even do know you, I still like will say no because it's like, I don't want to affect your mental health, because the come down from Molly is awful.
Yeah, it's
the
like
come down from
2-day
cocaine, like you don't sleep. Like that sucks.
It's just,
I don't want to contribute to that.
well, yeah. I mean, think about
And it's illegal.
I mean, think about the effect that food has on your body. Now you're putting like physical chemicals inside of your body. Like it's not like herbs and spices. You're putting fucking chemicals inside your body. Like it's just your body's not meant to digest and process those things. So it like fucks you up. And like you can literally fuck up your serotonin and your dopamine like permanently from some of these drugs. So,
Yeah.
or you can kill yourself. I mean, we're going to go to the extreme on that one. It's definitely a thing. Like I'm not going to,
like I can list the name of like some of the people that people probably listening to this have idolized or watched. Like Mac Miller died,
yeah.
you know, fentanyl overdose.
what was the
Demi
guy-
Lovato almost died.
What was the guy's name that sang Lucid Dreams? Juice World. Yeah, he died. He was like 21 years old, 22 years old.
Little Peep died.
Yeah.
You
know, I mean, it's just not, is it worth it? No. For what? A 2-hour high? 4-hour high? Like, it's not fucking worth it.
To me, it's like the way I look at it is like, if I don't want to contribute to your mental health, let alone be tied to almost your death.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I don't want to go to jail.
No.
I'm not fit for jail.
I'm not meant to be in jail.
No.
All I would ever do is sleep, eat, and work out and read.
You know, honestly, I would become a thug. I would be like Martha Stewart. I would like be besties with everybody and make all the friends and like try to get everybody to like
I don't even
not ever have an issue
want
with
to
me.
think about what I would need to be doing in jail because I'm not going to jail. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. So don't ask me for fucking drugs because I'm not going to give you any and I'm not going to tell you where to find them.
Yeah, and honestly, like
I'm going to give you know what? The next person that ever asks me for drugs, you're going to get a 10-minute lecture on why drugs are bad. And then I'm not going to serve you any alcohol because you don't deserve it.
but you're going to
I'm
get
going
water.
to turn into your fucking mother real quick and you're going to feel really shitty.
Or, you know, honestly, you could just sell powdered sugar. Think about it. Like if they're asking
No, I'm
you
going to give
drugs,
them
like,
fucking
yeah.
salt. Here, bro, snort this. Tell me how you feel.
Oh, you're
afterwards.
mad? Don't be salty. Like, think about it. If they really want, like, if they're really fiending for it, it's like, all right, cool. You know, I'll give you a deal, $10, put them in the little baggies. And then they're like,
I know
this
that-
is salt. And I'd be like, yeah, there you go. There's your fucking lesson.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be asking your bartender. You know, I just came up with, like, a really great idea. Oh, another source of passive income.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell salt baggies.
Oh my God. You probably honestly, you could probably get in trouble for that because people are like taking salt bath or what is it? They are snorting salt rocks or some shit. Bath salts. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
Well, this is going to be
Salt
salt.
baths. I was literally. So Esther posted something on our Girls on Fire page this past week asking like, what are some funny stories that, you know, of people asking you for drugs in the industry.
Well, first of all, will you put like on the poll, if you look up, how many people said yes and how many people said no?
Okay. So the poll was, have you ever had a customer ask you for drugs? And 41% of people said yes and 8% of people said no. I'm going to go, I don't know who the knowers are because obviously like you may or may not work in the industry. If you are a no person, a couple of people have. Interesting. So it was 41 yeses and 8 no's. And then we just got a couple of responses, but it's someone that Esther knows. It says, I sell drugs. It's a daily thing. Side note, he's a veterinarian or works in a vet clinic. So he's a medical. What did you say he was?
From my understanding now, Taylor, if you are listening to this episode, please correct me. But he sells like medicine for drugs. Like he
drug
sells
companies?
like
Okay.
for animals.
God. And then somebody else said, I respond with, I only sell legal drugs. Want a shot? Smart response. Get them to buy a shot.
Yeah, I like that one.
And then it's just someone who responded with so many times, and I always say no. I mean, like, it really blows my mind because of the people who listening who have asked the bartenders for drugs, like, what is the response you are expecting to get? Like, I'm just curious, like, what goes through. Actually, if you have ever asked a bartender in a bar for drugs, I'm very curious as to your thought process? Like, what was going through your mind? Were you nervous? Were you just like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm gonna ask because you assume that they know? Leave a comment and tell us, because I'd really like to know, like, what's going through your mind when you're asking us these questions. Like, do you genuinely think that we're going to tell you where to get drugs? Like, I'm not here to roast you. I just need to know, because I'm
gonna buy a trench coat. And I'd be like, follow me.
Yeah, like with the watches.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, follow me. And then I'm going to escort him to the back gate.
I mean, and that's the other thing, too, is
be like, shame on you.
Most bars have some form of security, whether it's an off-duty cop, ex-military, ex-cop. Most of the security in these kinds of places are some form of, like, military cop, or there is a cop on off-duty, like, on standby. So, like, you realize that it will take me 2 seconds to go get their attention and be like, hey, bro, this guy's asking me for drugs. Don't know what those are, but I don't have them.
Yeah. I get, like, a lot of times where people, like, get nervous. And, you know, honestly, the ones that have, like, the amount of, like, balls to ask me are, like, pro athletes or, like, famous people. Because I feel like people don't say no to them.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm
not going to out them out, but, like,
I have had people who have asked me, felt super, like, I guess regrettable would be the best word, because they're like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to ask. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, it's fine. I just don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't have drugs. Sorry, bro. Like, they definitely apologize the moment I say, because my response is usually like, I don't do drugs. Sorry. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have asked. I shouldn't have asked. You shouldn't have, but I don't know where to get you drugs. Don't ever ask that question again.
I know. I think I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again because we're on the topic of it. But, like, remember, like, T9 wording?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When you hit the letter 3 times before you could actually, like...
Or a little it's, like, predictive.
Yeah.
Predictive wording.
Oh, wait. Predictive
text, like, T9 word. Back in the day when we had our flip phones. Back in prehistoric days. When we'd have to text, it'd be, like, I remember I'd have to press like two times, or like three times.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't remember.
But then they like upgraded it, so like if you just press the numbers, it would predict your words for you.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they called it T9 wording. Every time I would spell my name, I'd be like, hey, it's like, I'd try to write Esther. It always, because also drugs is in that same like category. It'd always be like, oh, hey, what's up? It's drugs.
It's drugs. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and that still gets me every time, because like I'll tell it now to the younger generation, and they have like no fucking idea. They're like, what? And I'm like, I'll go fuck myself.
That's hilarious.
It's a funny joke. It was funny back then. I was cool. It was funny in high school.
Well, I mean, yeah. Some of these people don't even understand the struggle. When I sent you that meme the other day about the computer with the fucking had solitaire, Minesweeper, Free Cell.
Dude.
I'm like, I used to live on those games.
Do you ever understand the concept of Minesweeper?
I don't know, but I liked playing it because I liked blowing things up.
Okay, so this is what I found out later. It's like, so Minesweeper is this old game that was back in like the PCs, back before Apple was huge. Because like if you were, like for me personally, I was too poor to afford Apple. Apple was like the prime of
no, I never had an Apple computer ever.
No, I had like HP, I had a Dell, I had a Packer Bell. Like
I think ours was Microsoft.
Yeah, that might be HP.
I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay. There's so many different like computers, but a lot of them, like you'd click the start button and then like you'd go to like accessory, or no, you go to like accessories,
games.
Then you go games, and then there'd be like a list. You'd have like solitaire, Minesweeper. Occasionally you'd have pinball, free cell. Okay, so
those are the 4 main ones I think that were like automatically programmed. Yeah. The ping pong? No. I didn't have that one on mine.
That one wasn't on mine.
I lived on Free Cell and Solitaire. Those were like, I am obsessed with card games, and those were like my 2 favorite. And then I would occasionally play Minesweeper when I wanted to blow things up.
I would play a lot of Solitaire.
Wait, so I need to know what the Minesweeper
game
was.
So Minesweeper is this game, and it's all these. It has like a smiley face in the middle. It's got 2 scored boards, and then it's got all these gray little squares. And then you have to click on a square
and not get blown up.
Yeah, and you try, because the bomb is in the middle, right? Yeah, the bomb is in the middle, and it's surrounded by all these little gray gray squares. And your goal is to like, because if you press on one square, it'll open up like all the empty gray squares. And your goal is to try to like hit the right gray squares without hitting like the bombs. Because like if you click on one gray square
and it fucks with a bomb, you're fucked.
Yeah, and it had like a hidden bomb in it, you're fucked, but you couldn't tell. But sometimes like when you'd click on one gray square, it would like sweep out, but then there'd be all these flags. So usually the flags were indicators. Like if there was like flags surrounding one little square, that little square was, it's like a hint to tell you there's a bomb right here.
It's funny because I don't think I won that game ever.
I won it one time.
I don't think I ever won that game. But it was fun playing it when I was tired of playing Free Cell and Solitaire.
I remember I won it one time. Because usually, you know, when you turn on your computer, you would turn it off. I left my computer on for a week, and that was, like, my thing in the background. And I would constantly, like, double check and make sure and be like, wow. Because we didn't have, like, I didn't have a cell phone then, so I couldn't take a picture of it. So I just got it as a reminder, like, yeah, bitch, I won that game.
I was in 8th grade when I first got my first cell phone. It was a prepaid Sony Ericsson phone. And I paid for it myself because I was working at that time. And then the next phone I got after that, I think was a BlackBerry. And then I got like this, it was the wannabe sidekick because I wanted a sidekick, but I couldn't afford or like the phone company I was with didn't have sidekicks.
So they had like their own version of it?
Yeah, it was like their own version. And then after that, I think I got my first iPhone. But I didn't get, my mom had a computer in my parents' room. So we never had a computer out in like the living room. There was not like a computer for us to play at. It was my mom's computer. It was in her room, and it was mainly for her like work emails and stuff like that. And occasionally we were allowed to go in and like be on it if we wanted to. But it's funny because I remember when we were allowed to be on it, it was like I was on AIM. You know, I was constantly changing my MySpace background and sound. But I was in high school. You know, I was sophomore, junior in high school. I didn't get my first laptop till I was like 23, I think.
Nice.
But it's just crazy because like kids growing up now, like my daughter, you know, she got her first phone when she was 6, 7 years old. I didn't get a phone till I was in 8th grade. I was 14.
Yeah, like, I didn't get my phone till I was in
8th grade
too.
And I've always said, I'm like, she's not going to get a phone till she's old enough to, like, she doesn't need a phone. And then I'm like, okay, she needs a phone. Get her a phone now. But it's like all these kids are growing up with all this technology that like we never even thought about having. Like it wasn't even a thought that crossed our mind.
See, that I will give so much credit to my dad for is that his like he loved electronics. He went to Divide Tech, so he wanted to learn how to build and repair and everything like that. So by the time I was 6 years old, I had a computer at my mom's house.
Mm-hmm.
That he
you're
built.
Also what, like 6 years younger than me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he had built the first computer that I had. But my mom did childcare at home, so like it never really lasts. When I moved in with him, I never got like my dad never took me shopping like if I needed clothes. It was kind of like he let me decide. Like I'm like, hey dad, I think I might need some new shoes or like this, and then he'd be like, okay, like we'll go to the store and grab stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Like I would kind of tell him. But when it came to electronics, my dad, like I had my own computer when I moved in. He made me take apart my mother, like the tower of the computer, take it apart, know the components, all that stuff. Like
I would have had zero interest in doing that.
I didn't, but it made him happy. So like when iPods first came out, he got me one. And he was like, you need to know because this is the stuff that's going to change your entire generation. Like,
yeah.
So he wouldn't let me, he wouldn't get me a phone, but he did get me like an iPod when they first came out. And like
I had a
he
little
got me a computer.
MP3 player.
Yeah.
I never had an iPod, but I had a little MP3 player that I could like plug in and like I could only download a certain amount of songs, but I could like change out those songs.
My house was, so like the house that I grew up in, let me just like have you picture it. Like my dad, like the garage was full of like old radio parts, like 6 computer towers that were on the floor because people would always like hit my dad up to fix their computer and stuff. My dad had built TVs. Like my dad had all this electronic stuff. And then like I lived in a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath townhome. It was very small, but it was just like the right size for like my dad and I. It had a garage, like a 1-car garage. But when you go through the front door, the first thing that you would see right in front of you, well, first thing that you see on the right was this big like metal black bookcase, and it had a bunch of like electronics on it. You had like a old calculator, you had a print label, you had all these files, all these tapes and stuff like that. If you look straight ahead, like imagine just one giant rectangle. If you look straight ahead, there was my dad's main computer. So it was on a light brown, like 2-tower desk. And he had his computer, he had his camera, he had like all his old CDs. He had like always the latest and stuff. Right next to him, he had a calculator, like those little like printed ones, like
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like almost like a cash register. He looked to the left, he had a fax machine, and then he had a printer. And then right below it was like all those old like AOL like discs that you get in the mail. He collected those. And then everything was up against the wall. So then when you go around the wall, you see records. There was a bunch of records all over the floor. Then my dad had speakers on every 4 corners. And then he had these, he had an old reel-to-reel. He had 2 old reel-to-reels. He had a mixer. He had a turntable, not a turntable, but like where you put records on. And then he had this big tower where it was like the VCR, the DVD player, the one that was like all the components for the like the all of his equipment all went into like this little tower that you would lightly press, and it was a glass door, and it would open up. And then you go right up against like the other side of the wall, and there's this giant old like boxy like screen TV, and there was 2 lazy boys on either side. One was mine and one was his. And then there was like a little coffee table with more records all over the place. And then like up in the corner was like a little small kitchen. That was like our house. So like people would come over to record. People would come over to like convert VHSs into like CDs. Like my dad was super like into that. So he would like try to get me to like, that was like his way of like trying to bond with me. I wasn't super interested in it, but I also kind of was. Like he got me my first video camera, so I started learning how to do videos. He got me my first actual camera, so I started learning how to take pictures. That's where like all my creativity kind of came from, which is kind of cool because now I get to see it like into fruition, like with the podcast.
Right.
Which is why I'm like, oh my God, like I've definitely like now my dad's daughter. But he like when stuff like that started to come out, he really had me in on it. And like my first phone I got when I was in 8th grade, I begged for him. I made a PowerPoint presentation of why I deserve a phone.
You deserve the phone for just doing that.
Yes. And then I had to make a list of promises of like what I was going to do, like keep my grades up, all that shit. None of that ever happened. But like my first phone was this red Samsung flip phone from Cricket. And then I ended up getting a blue Razor because the pink one was sold out, and I was so upset. And then I ended up switching to T-Mobile. And like one of my favorite things that I really, really liked when I was younger was like when I had a T-Mobile phone, it had those SIM cards.
Oh, so yeah, you could just take your SIM cards out and put it in different phones.
Yes. So I used to swap phones with my friends all the time. I'd be like, you want a sidekick for the day? Yeah, here, you can have my pink
I never
like,
did
Razor.
that, but
I did all the time.
I definitely loved the flexibility of being able to change your phone and just needing the SIM card.
Oh.
And now you have to like upload everything to the iCloud or whatever and have it backed up and all the different things. And now it's just a pain in the ass.
See, my dad would like put everything in like drives and then or DVDs or CDs. So like my dad has recordings of me that I don't even like know where they would be at, but they're like CDs of me like singing like Patsy Cline as a kid, and he'd be like mixing them so that I sounded really good. I was covering like some Dolly Parton and a lot of Linda Ronstadt. Wow, I went down memory lane. Well, those were good. Those were some good memories.
We definitely kind of like steered the conversation in a totally different direction, but
went to the prehistoric days.
Yeah, right? No, but the moral of our story today was don't ask the bartenders for drugs.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, it's always
probably
cool.
the side effects of me doing the drugs that I'm like,
Sorry, it happens sometimes. It happens.
That's okay.
But definitely leave a comment because, like I was talking about before, or like if you are a bartender or a waitress or waiter inside of an establishment or security or whatever your position is in hospitality, let us know some funny stories about whether or not you've been asked for drugs and or what kind of drugs and like what your response was to them. Definitely would be curious to hear some more stories that we could tell because it's one of those things where it happens and you just don't think about it, so you don't like remember all the stories unless they like stand out specifically. But I definitely have been asked a lot of times. I mean, I've been in the industry for 14 years, so definitely not the first time I've been asked. Probably won't be the last time I've been asked.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to let Sam take it away on this one.
Well, we do post new episodes every Monday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you are not already following us on social media, please do so now at Girlsonfireatx. Make sure that you log on to our YouTube and subscribe to our videos there.
At Girlsonfireatx.
Yeah, leave comments there for us because we would really love to interact with you guys on YouTube. Again, you'd probably like to enjoy seeing our beautiful faces as we talk about all these fun stories. But we love you guys, and we will see you next time.
Okay, bye.